Hello, I'm Darby McDevitt, Narrative Director of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and this is the Assassin's Creed Lore Guide, Volume 1, The Assassin's Order. The first Assassin Order was created as the Hidden Ones by Bayek and Aya in Egypt in the 1st century BC. Their purpose was crystal clear: to combat oppressive regimes and secure humankind's right to self-determination. Since their inception, they have toiled in the background of history, working in the dark to serve the light. Today, the Assassins organize themselves into regional cells and operate from hidden bureaus. Assassin recruits are often referred to as initiates, and as they climb ranks, they become assassins, master assassins, and in rare cases, a mentor. A few notable assassin accomplishments throughout history have been the assassination of Julius Caesar, the discovery and foiling of a plot to kill George Washington, and the invention of the cafe latte. Thank you, Ezio. Originally called the Order of the Ancients, the modern-day Templar Order is a secretive organization that lurks in the cracks of history, manipulating human endeavors to enforce a strict and orderly vision of society to ensure peace and security for all. The Templars are typically led by a Grand Master and often organize themselves into rites. You may have heard of some of these offshoots: the Illuminati, the Hospitallers, or the Knights Templar. In order to maintain their control over the populace, the Templars think big. They have been known to manipulate entire economies, elect puppet politicians, or put corrupt popes in the Vatican, as they did with Rodrigo Borgia in the 15th century. But the Templars' manipulations are not limited to human affairs, for they have intimate knowledge of many strange and mysterious artifacts left behind by a precursor civilization. Artifacts which have been known to exude a broad influence over the human mind and body. Called Pieces of Eden, this ancient technology has been used by the Templars for a variety of purposes: to heal, to resurrect, to relive ancient memories, or induce painful hallucinations. The first civilization, or Isu as they called themselves, were a race of hypersentient precursor beings that predate our own civilization by many thousands of years. A technologically advanced species, they created the artifacts that the Assassins and the Templars have fought and puzzled over for generations. They also created the human race as a reliable source of slave labor, an inconvenient truth that has all but disappeared from our collective memory. Around 75,000 BCE, a war between the Isu and the humans broke out. It was a conflict that threatened to destroy both groups, were it not for a deadly solar flare that enveloped the Earth, triggering a mass extinction event. Following this catastrophe, the Isu were wiped out, a victim of their own frailties and over-reliance on technology. Over thousands more years, the remaining human tribes grew and thrived, and as they did, they began to puzzle over the strange artifacts and archaeological remains left behind by their forebears. Little did these humans know that the Isu were never far away, for contained within the genes of a small percentage of them were traces of Isu DNA. As human culture evolved, so too did its stories about the Isu. Like an endless game of telephone, the historical fact of the first civilization transformed into the fanciful tales of the pagan gods. In fact, most of what we call mythology today is a reinterpretation of actual events from the Isu era. If only there was some way to separate fact from the fiction of these wild stories. As it turns out, there is. Built by Abstergo Industries in the latter half of the 20th century, the Animus is a device that allows its users to extract and explore the embedded ancestral memories found in all human DNA. Early versions of the Animus limited its users by giving them access to the ancestral memories found in their own genes. More recent versions now allow people to investigate the memories found in any harvested strand of DNA, no matter its source. Because this genetic memory is fixed, users of the Animus are not free to interpret history in any way they see fit. Rather, they must synchronize with the genetic memory to ensure a more complete picture of the past. But full synchronization is not always possible, and many gaps often remain open. As one would expect with such advanced technology, Operating an animus is not always an easy task, and the long-term psychological effects can be profoundly disorienting or deadly. In some cases, prolonged exposure to ancestral memories has been known to trigger a so-called bleeding effect, a situation where the memories of one or many ancestors begin to overlap and intermingle with one's own. And yet, as is the case with most advanced technologies, the rewards often outweigh the risks of use. With all of human history now open to us, who wouldn't want to dig into the past and uncover its secrets? And how can this knowledge of the past help us solve the pressing problems of today? It all began in the year 2012 with a young man named Desmond Miles, a humble bartender living in New York, searching for his place in this world. One day, Desmond was kidnapped by agents of Abstergo Industries, a 20th century incarnation of the very powerful Templar Order. Abstergo had discovered that Desmond was someone special, that his DNA contained the ancestral memories of a number of important assassins from the distant past. Eager to search these memories for lost pieces of Eden, Abstergo forced Desmond into an animus and compelled him to relive the life of a 12th century assassin named Altair ibn La'ahad. Before this search bore fruit, however, the assassins mounted a daring rescue. They liberated Desmond and brought him into their ranks. Over the next few months, Desmond explored the genetic memories of a second assassin, an Italian named Ezio Auditore. It was through Ezio's memories that he learned a terrible truth. A second great catastrophe was imminent, one that would destroy all life on Earth. By reliving the memories of a third assassin, Connor Kenway, Desmond was able to prevent this catastrophe, but at the cost of his life. Some years later, an Abstergo employee named Layla Hassan stumbled across the ancestral memories of two assassins living in Cleopatra's Egypt, Bayek and Aya. While exploring these memories, Layla discovered 6 Isu tombs containing secret messages that foretold a terrible truth. The catastrophe that Desmond had prevented had only been stalled, not stopped. Inspired by Bayek and Aya, and unsettled by these new prophecies, Layla abandoned the Templars to join the assassins, now led by Desmond's father, William Miles. As she trained, Layla relived the memories of Cassandra, a mercenary from ancient Sparta. These memories led to the discovery of a powerful piece of Eden with extensive healing properties called the Staff of Hermes. A powerful tool, yet one that began to have a deleterious effect on Layla's sanity. So now the stage is set. With the staff in hand, Layla struggles to understand how all the pieces fit together. Can she and her new team find a solution before the catastrophe strikes again? Find out what happens next in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.